Recording.
Oh my goodness, so am I.
Hooray!
I've gone British for this episode. Whoo! All right. We are back in the saddle.
We are. Feels like it's been a while.
Back in our regular respective saddles, I should say.
Yeah. Been a little all over the place.
I know, but in a good way. Hey guys, Welcome to Wingin It, the West Wing Podcast. My name's Andrea.
And I'm Sallie.
Do I do a weird inflection there? I feel like I just always go up at the end just so you know that you're next, but you know you're next. There's no other host. I'm Andrea. Okay. Hope this isn't your first episode, because if it is, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's already weird. It's fine.
Welcome. We're going to talk about H.Con-172, or H.Con-172, Season 3, Episode 11.
11. Should we sing?
Yes. Oh, we absolutely should. Start us off, Sallie.
Da,
Da, da, da, da, da. Was that good?
Yeah.
I'm kind of liking the next part.
It was as good as we get, I think, probably.
Man, it's so good that when we have cast member interviews that we don't sing in front of them and that we don't tell them that we do that bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good thing they never do their homework.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, I hope they're listening, but am I glad they're not? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I am.
Certain episodes, you know, here or there.
I'm not terribly mad about it, yeah.
They're pretty trusting to be like, yeah, we'll come and like answer questions for you.
Hey,
like,
fine by me.
Yeah, totally fine by me. We'll be releasing the Janelle Maloney interview soon. Fairly soon. Yeah, it's still like hitting me in waves that actually happened. Is that how are you? Is that
it hit me in a big wave watching this episode, because it was like, oh, there's Donna/Janelle. Like, it was weird watching again, having met her and talked to her. Weird in a great way.
Yeah.
Fabulous way.
It was funny. There's like insider info that really doesn't have any bearing on anything, but she called me earlier in the day to confirm like our plan for meeting, and I was just like, it was a pretty surreal moment. Like I got a phone call from her. Yeah. But she was super cool.
Pretty bananas, guys. Things are happening.
Yeah, things are happening. We are pushing forward. So can't wait for you guys to hear it. But let's talk about H.Con-172. How did you feel about this episode, Sallie?
I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. It's hard to like, that's such a hard question. How did you feel about something?
Sorry.
Because sometimes I have strong, no, it's okay. It's a good place to start. I guess sometimes I have strong feelings, but like this was just a good solid episode. Like it's not like, oh, it's the best episode ever. And it's not like,
Did you remember it before you rewatched it?
I did not remember it, but I remembered it as soon as the first few moments happened. Because that happens to me too, where like I don't remember entire storylines and entire whatever. I'm like, I must have not been paying attention the first, second, or third time I watched this one, but this one I did remember once I watched it.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, once I started watching it.
You're like, who are these people and what is happening? Welcome to the West Wing. No, I really loved this episode, and I have mentioned before that I don't rewatch in sequence or in sequined garments, although it sounds like I would. I would rewatch in sequence. But so because of that, I don't always, I haven't seen certain episodes as much as I've seen others. So this is one that I hadn't seen as much as others.
Right.
And it is now going to be in my rewatch queue because I thought it was just super delightful.
Yeah, I agree. Where to begin, right? We should do a TikTok. It's like I've totally forgotten how to podcast.
Yeah, we still do that. TikTok. Yep. Okay, so the main thing that's happening is there's a deal on the table for Leo to have the hearings be over about the MS and the cover-up and whatever. And Leo doesn't want to take it. Obviously, everybody else wants him to take it, but the consequences of that would be a presidential censure. So it's kind of a big deal. Sam is kind of obsessed about this tell-all book that this photographer who used to work at the White House will be releasing in 3 weeks. So he's like on the scent of that and kind of following that storyline.
Yep.
And Josh and Amy Gardner there's more relationship-y things happening there, which we'll talk more about. And Bartlett has a map that supposedly Charlie got him at a flea market, and it's really not
supposedly, like, you don't believe it.
Well,
Charlie supposedly got it at a flea market.
I guess he could go to a flea market. Like, sure, I want to go to a flea market with Charlie.
Yeah, same.
That'd be fun.
Maybe we can make that happen.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be a great episode? So that's like pretty much what's happening.
I'm just still envisioning that, like, you know, our dinner talk with Ainsley and our flea market date with Dule.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I have other ideas for a thing with Dule, but I'll tell you about that AFK, away from keyword, in case anybody thought I wasn't nerdy enough. Okay, so are there things you didn't like about this episode, or things you did like in particular?
You know, there really wasn't much that I didn't like.
What's not to like?
Yeah, I can't think of any. I mean, and I'm looking over my notes here, and a lot of it was, this was a really one of those episodes, which happens every now and then, where there are just so many good lines. And
yeah,
which of course happens all the time. It's the West Wing. Like, it's obviously known for Sorkin and the dialogue and just being quippy and being great. Not even quippy lines. There was just a lot of really good writing in this episode. A lot of really good moments. So I have a lot of that. I'm still reading, and there's just not much. Oh, okay. There is fine. One line that people love that I don't love.
What?
I want to make sure I get it right. Maybe not so much for you with the talking.
Oh, yeah.
I don't love it.
You don't love it because you don't love who says it.
Well, no, because let's be clear. Like, I know when Amy was introduced, I'm a hater, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel as strongly about Amy as I felt about Mandy. Like, I'm fine watching Amy's scenes. I'm not like, ugh, this is terrible, let it be over. I like the dynamic between she and Josh. Like, I like that she calls him out on stuff. I'm fine with that. It's the idea that, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me being so silly, and maybe this is TMI, but, like, not TMI, but there's the whole thing of, like, kissing in the middle of sentences, right? Like, that's, like, I think I saw it in a movie once, that, like, oh, first kisses happen in the middle of sentences, blah, blah, blah. I think that is terrible. I think it's terrible.
Wait, what? You think...
I think somebody kissing you in the middle of your sentence is terrible. Oh. And I think that's sort of what Amy does. Says, like, oh, you stop talking. I think I want Josh to keep talking. I like when Josh talks. I don't want... Maybe other people think that that's cute and romantic or something. I don't. I couldn't disagree more.
Oh, well...
Yeah. I was going to say it's TMI because it has happened to me. I went on a date with a boy who, at the end of the night, kissed me in the middle of a sentence. And I was like, maybe you think that's a good move? It was not a good move. I was like, I actually, like, wanted to finish what I was saying. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
It just felt really awkward. It felt like, okay, you shut up now.
Yeah.
And it's just not. I just, nope. No thanks.
I love that by, like,
sorry, guys. Sorry for that mini rant.
No, I love that by the time this podcast is over, like, everyone's going to know everything about us. And so anyone who does or does not want to be with us romantically will just know everything we hate and everything we like.
Yeah, I could.
That's really why we're doing this, people.
Stuff, but yeah, it's whatever.
I liked. We'll move on from the Josh and Amy thing, but I really liked so much of their interaction in this episode.
Yeah.
First of all, I like Josh going to Toby, just trying to figure out a reason to go talk to Amy. Because he goes in there, and it's just weird because, like, it's so rare that they have just, like, a bro moment on this show in general. You know, it's so rare. And so it's fun just to see that between the two of them. And Toby's just like, give her a call. Like, he's just like, he's the straight shooter, and Josh is the one that, like, has to come up with something.
Right.
And I want to play an audio clip from that first scene, or from one of the scenes. Like, there's just so much good stuff. I don't even know where I would start and begin. But we'll drop it in.
I saw her a couple of weeks ago about some language in the Vienna Treaty. I remember? Mrs. Bartlett sent me there. Yeah? I don't know. She changed her hair or something. Something's going on.
What do you need?
Well, I'm a straight shooter. I think my record's pretty clear on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her again.
Call her.
And ask her out?
Yeah.
No, because there's a potential she says no, and then I have to move someplace where it'll never be spoken of again.
Yeah.
I need to come in under the cover of business.
Because you're a straight shooter.
Yeah, I need a point of friction, an issue where the feministas in the White House disagree. That way I can go to her, break the bad news, stand tough, smooth it over, and then, you know, I take it from there.
How about the word feministas?
Now, come on, you've been doing outreach to the women's groups in the State of the Union. Where are we?
They're happy.
Very happy?
Yeah.
With the surplus projections changing?
Women are getting a decent break.
Damn. Where the hell are the pro-lifers when you need them?
Sons of bitches. Don't they know you're trying to
Hey,
get...
this is not that. She's got, I'm bewitched. I'm ensorcelled. There's got to be some way we're screwing them over.
All that to say, I just thought it was adorable. And I also thought that Josh's monologue to Amy at the end, before she so rudely interrupts him, is adorable. Like, he's just so, like, he's just being completely honest. Like, hey, like, I just studied a lot in college, and I don't know what to do when you like a girl. I never, like, learned that part. And it was so earnest and so cute, and I felt like I identified with it. But really, we just don't get to see that side of his character very often. He's always, like, has this bravado, and he knows what he's doing. So it was great to see him in this weaker sort of position.
Right. I completely agree, because I think you're so right. Like, the character of Josh is so, I mean, the rest of the time, everything else he does, he's cocky and he's outgoing and he's all those things. And it was also great to get that. It's not like a full explanation, but him saying the whole, like, I studied a lot, I don't know what I'm doing. It's nice for us to have that, even just that tiny bit of, like, here's maybe why he's like this. Because otherwise you'd be like, hey, this doesn't quite fit. But I really enjoyed that part of it. I really enjoyed he and Toby talking, because it was like, it was frustrating, but in a good way. Like, I'm like, Josh, just call her. I'm on Toby's side. I'm like, Josh, this is dumb. She's going to know it's fake. You're a smart dude. She's going to know. But like, just call her. And I'm frustrated from the girl's point of view, because I'm like, just call her and ask her out. Like, it's not that difficult.
It was just funny because they were trying to find problems that the women's groups would have with the administration, just like to find a reason. So, like, they kept looking for problems, and he's like, what? They're completely satisfied? Like, it was funny because they were frustrated that they were so happy. It was like,
I really liked that
genius.
Too.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
And then, you know, obviously Donna can't be wild about this. Like, she knows what's going on.
Donna, that's what it was. It's that I like, because I've said before that, like, I have a hard time believing that Josh, like, couldn't just get his act together enough to be with Donna. But seeing him act this way about Amy makes it be like, okay, maybe he is this sort of, he's just as bad at it. Like, he really is. It makes me believe it more that, like, he would have no idea what to do with Donna.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've seen it a little bit. We've seen him be hesitant about Joey, or anything else. But, like, it's not until this episode, and even just this relationship unfolding, that we really get the, like, why of it. And we get the, I don't know, you know, it feels more earnest and more real now. Yeah.
And she said, I mean, she calls him, I mean, she kept saying, like, guys like you, and, like, kind of putting him in a category. And then also saying that, like, what happens with guys like you is that, you know, if this relationship goes 5 minutes longer than you want it to, you're out, you know? And I thought that was kind of I mean, I don't know, it's a fictional character, but I think that it seemed fitting in a certain way. And he's like, that's not true, and I don't know. he's not really like set up in a like how again. I don't know how people are in relationships when they have his job. Like I don't even know if that's possible.
I totally agree.
So anyway,
Totally agree with
so
that.
there's all that.
All right. Anyway, so now that we've beat that to a pulp.
Although I will say the whole Donna like, don't worry, Josh, I'll get home fine. Like she had just finished saying like it's not even snowing yet, and it's 10:45 at night, and she's still working, and Josh is going to see Amy, and she knows that, and so she's just kind of like letting it be known that she feels a little slighted.
Yeah. Also, Josh saying there was a dog in here. That was maybe one of my favorite moments too.
What?
When Josh is on the phone with Amy and he gets distracted and he's like, "Oh, sorry, there's a dog in here," for a second. That it killed me. That was so funny. Which we can leave this storyline alone, but there were a lot of great lines. I love when Amy's telling him if this went 5 minutes longer than you wanted to go, you run for the hills, when she's calling him out like you were talking about. I love that. And though there was a dog in here, and just Donna saying, like Donna, when she first called and Donna's like, "Oh, I'll see if he's here." Da, 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 da.
Lots of good stuff. Go back and rewatch it if you enjoy any of that. If you didn't, maybe you enjoyed. Well, I think the whole Leo-centered thing, it's not very fun. Because Leo's just basically putting up a fight the whole episode because he is Leo and he's amazing and doesn't want the president to suffer because of him for any reason.
The one thing I wish they'd done with that is that I wish they had somebody else on Leo's side. Not that I'm on Leo's side. I mean, I think the president and everybody are right, but it makes it to where the whole episode, you know what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, because Leo's the only one thinking that. And so the whole episode, you're pretty sure. You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't think I was necessarily sure. I mean, I knew that happened, but I don't know. I think what was surprising at the end when Bartlett eventually says, like, "No, we're doing this," was because he also said, "You know what? Like, I deserve it." And it wasn't so much about Leo. You know, Bartlett said, "You know what? I hid the truth and we could have made it right at any point, and I didn't have bad intentions, but, you know, I deserve it." And, like, what other president or presidential figure would ever be that noble? It's just Bartlett. It's only him. Yeah.
Well, at least in private. Like, he wouldn't come out and say that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just something about the way they acted it. Like, when Josh and Leo sort of have the heart-to-heart about it, Josh is sort of like, okay, then that's what you're going to do. But the way he does it, it's almost like, okay, I'm going to let you believe this for now, but you know we're not going to do this. Yeah. I don't know. It just... I don't know, but obviously I adore Leo, and I just think it's so, I don't know, he has the line about, "I take a bullet for the president, he doesn't take one for me." So, I don't know, but then, so like you said, it's nice that in the end it comes around and it's not just about Leo. Like, I think that helps Leo come to terms with it, because it's not just, hey, we're going to fall on this sword so you don't have to deal with this. We're going to fall on this sword because it's the right thing to do and because it's what I want to do. So,
I still I
like how they did all of that.
I still wanted to have some kind of, like, moment with Bartlett and Leo where he's just telling him, "And I can't do this job without you." You know, I still kind of wanted that, like, emotional moment, kind of like when Leo's telling Josh about the whole guy falls in a hole, you know, I've been down there before sort of thing. I kind of wanted Bartlett to be like, no, brother, we're not letting this happen to you. But it's okay. It's the ultimate end result is good. So.
Right. Speaking of falling, though, there is the quote, Toby's saying that he saw President Bartlett's favorite movie on, and they have the quote about, "As if it matters how a man falls down. When the fall is all that's left, it matters a great deal." How'd you feel did you have any feelings about this scene and that quote and all the things?
I don't think I understood what was happening. I think I was taking notes and I kind of didn't. Like, I knew that there was some sort of parallel going on, but I don't remember.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, and hopefully I'm right about this, he's talking about the MS and how they're handling all of this and all of the fallout about it. But Toby, because Toby says that quote, you know, when the fall is, you know, how does it matter how a man falls down when the fall is all that's left? It matters a great deal. And the president says, are you trying to tell me something? And Toby says, no,
He's
Mr.
like,
President,
oh yeah, no,
of course
never.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he says it in such a blatantly obvious, like, oh no, I would never try to tell you anything. No, what?
I'm speaking in
and
code.
It's like,
wink,
yeah,
wink.
so it's like, why? I don't know. It was, but I like that they did that. I don't know how else they would have done it. I like that he says that, and they just have this sort of moment of knowing between them. But it was pretty ballsy of Toby there to sit, because the implication being that they are falling, that you know, like, I mean, and they are to an extent, but like also they're running for re-election, so
yeah, that's still happening.
We're not falling
in the background. It's still happening.
So it was odd. But speaking of Toby, he doesn't think he's prickly, which
oh my gosh,
was so funny.
I love Toby in this episode. I love Toby in every episode, but I like when he gets to be like the light and frothy one.
Yeah, I agree.
He and CJ had like a funny exchange at the top of the episode when they're all in the Roosevelt room and they're getting their assignments about this book. And also that Ed and Larry, there's a joke about not knowing which one is Ed, which one is Larry, and CJ didn't even know. But yeah, where he and CJ have just a funny exchange, like behind lampshades and stuff. He's like, I'm not always mumbling.
Yeah. Well, and she just sort of like takes the heat off the moment, because he's like, they're like listing, I can't remember if it's Sam that's reading it out, but they're listening to the description of Toby, and it's like, oh, he's prickly and mumbling, da 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 da, and CJ leans over and is like, wasn't it miniature golf? Like talking about the correct, the story said they were playing golf, and CJ's like, wasn't it miniature golf? And it was just a cute like friendship moment of like, hey, let's ignore all of that stuff. I thought, which I really liked.
Well, because really what I think like the full quote said something about basically his prickly and mumbly personality is what broke up the only marriage that they know of. So it was kind of like, ooh, let's just sidestep that little. Yeah, there's so many fun things that came off of that whole storyline with the book. Except for Sam.
Well,
CJ with the underwear question, she didn't ask about underwear, but it ended up being about underwear, because in the book it said that Bartlett wanted to know how to have a son at some point and inquired about like the best way to have a son instead of a daughter, and so she ends up talking to him about different kinds of underwear. And then it's funny because then Charlie comes in later and just only hears like the tail end of it. Dule was great throughout this whole episode. He's kind of like the unsung hero of this one.
One thing I loved about the book storyline was, well, many things. I loved many things about it. I loved Toby's reaction to the whole thing. Like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. He has the line like, oh, was it this guy? He's trying to remember who it was. And then he's like, I don't want him to know that I remember him at all.
Yeah,
and I like Toby's reaction. And I really like the storyline that it turns into for Sam. That, like, oh, he's throwing his energy on this because he's not quite sure what else to do. They're not in the know. They're not on the inside, as Toby says. And I didn't remember that part of it. And so I wasn't really paying that much attention to the Sam storyline. And so when that came about, it sort of caught me just like slightly off guard. And I liked that. Like, I liked that it was a little bit of it was like not even a B plot. It was just a little thing run throughout. And then it turned into something more and something about Sam's character. And I enjoyed that.
Can I just say how much I loved? It's a kind of a CJ light episode, kind of uncharacteristically, but where Sam is just so worked up about this, and he comes into her office, and of course Toby's there, like reading the paper and talking about sports, and just like basically interrupting CJ for no reason, which is delightful again. But he gets so hopped up that CJ starts singing West Side Story, cool, which was just the perfect moment ever. I was in West Side Story in college, so I have a particular affinity toward that, but it was magical.
There's also when right before she's seeing that, talking about Sam getting worked up, he's yelling about like, oh, if this is wrong, we need to have, a sworn statement that it's right or whatever.
Yeah.
And he says if there's a comma in the wrong place, he needs to be killed, which I really, really want on a t-shirt. I think that's great.
No one will ever write you emails ever.
That's how I feel on a daily basis.
Oh my god.
Speaking of which, this is going back to the Josh and Amy thing, but it's only to say this line that at one point, Amy's talking and Josh says, do you need me in this conversation or are you good by yourself? And I was like, that literally could be said to any character on the West Wing, like at any given point.
I loved that.
Yeah,
also, while we're there, there was a good SAT word that Josh said. I don't even know how to. That's the thing about not knowing what the word is. You have to know how to spell it to look it up. I'm just saying it's tricky. He said he's ensorcelled. Like, I've never heard sorcery. That before.
I've never heard it before either.
Like sorcery. Okay.
Yeah, I'm bewitched. I'm ensorcelled.
But it still sounds made up.
Yes, it does. When I was typing it in my notes, luckily I obviously had the help of the subtitles. But even then, I was fully expecting it to be like, oh, this is not spelled right, or this is not a word.
Yeah, ensorcelled. That's your SAT word for today. Although obfuscate is also a great SAT word.
Yeah.
Obfuscate. That's what Bartlett says later.
Thanks, West Wing.
Thanks, guys. This episode also has Donna realizing that Cliff was the one who basically got Leo the deal and got him out of harm's way back before Christmas.
Uh-huh.
So that was
what a great moment that was. That was really wonderful. When she, the moment she realizes, just her face was just like, oh, you love him, kind of.
Well, yeah, she just realizes what a great guy he is. Like, I kind of wonder if, well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens because, now Josh is kind of moving towards Amy and Donna still has this guy out there and the trial's about to go away. So what's going to happen? I don't know. We'll find out.
We will find out. Yeah, I just wrote, him's a good man in my notes.
You wrote what?
I wrote, he's a good man.
Oh, he's a good man. He is indeed. Yep.
My notes don't make a lot of sense when I'm writing them, so.
That's fine. Mine are hieroglyphics. We did ask Janelle, which, we asked her, this or that sort of questions at the end of the interview. We asked her about different love interests for Donna, who she preferred. So stay tuned for that one. It's a good one. Other things.
Oh, I wanted to talk more about the map because it was fun.
Yes.
It was everyone telling President Bartlett that he couldn't hang the map because it didn't recognize Israel. And he's all up in arms because, of course, it didn't recognize Israel because it was made before Israel was a thing and yada, yada, yada. So I just thought that was so fun because and we've seen this on the West Wing before where, he's sort of asking different people, hoping to get a different reaction from everyone.
Right,
and he wants someone to be like, yeah, you should hang it up, And no one does.
No. And it was funny because Bartlett starts that little scene with Charlie by asking, how his weekend was. And Charlie's like, well, I was here with you most of the weekend, sir.
Yeah.
But then he asks about the flea market, and he's like, yeah, I got you this map. And Bartlett says, nice sucking up.
Yeah, seriously.
And he wants to play with it more. You don't play with a map. You read a map. You look at a map.
Yeah. Although it's very Bartlett.
Yeah, it was really cute. Way to go, Charlie. Good flea market find.
I mean, there were just a lot of little nuggets in here that, I could talk about forever, so.
Yeah, what about Amy Gardner's boyfriend? Doesn't she have a boyfriend?
I think she's probably escalating his importance. I don't remember that at this point.
She just used the term boyfriend.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, well, way to kiss somebody else if you're dating someone. Just saying.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she had just come from the ballet and she asked Josh if he'd ever seen a ballet. And he said no. But we remember in another episode where he said he wanted to be a ballet dancer when he grew up. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So, script supervisor was taking a little snooze. I don't know. It's has no bearing on anything whatsoever. Also, have you realized that Rob Lowe does this thing where he kind of just like lets his jaw hang open whenever he's feeling really dramatic about something? Has anyone else noticed that?
I have not, but I'll pay attention more now.
Like when he's being sassy or if he's like really fired up, he kind of just like lets his jaw hang open a little bit. That definitely happens in the scenes where he's talking about Lori like early on with CJ, and when he's defending Josh and the shooting couple. Yeah, I think it was season 2. He does it a lot, and I don't dislike it. It's just very like iconic Rob Lowe. So someone else tell me if I'm alone in that.
I'll have to watch for it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's mostly what I have. I mean, there's a lot of like fun little lines. At the beginning, Leo said he's like, "Oh, sure, I'll go tell the president that he has to be censured. Then I'm going to go flap my wings to Neverland."
Yeah, or when President Bartlett's in the room talking to a bunch of people about stuff, he says something like, "I'm not saying we're not going to do it. We're just going to find a different way of saying we're doing it." And he's just, that was just a fun political line, just of not twisting the truth, but, political stuffs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a delightful episode.
Yeah,
so if you had to pick an MVP, could you do it?
Remind me, you might not remember, but did we make Cliff the MVP of the last episode?
No, I don't think we picked him.
Okay, I'm gonna vote Cliff. Stand-up dude.
I will give that.
And
I was
obviously
gonna go
he
with
won't have a lot of chance to do it again.
Sure.
So.
I was gonna go with the fake snow. I was gonna give the MVP to the fake snow for making it so romantic.
Or just how cute Riley Whitford looked when his little nose was all cold.
No.
Anyway, oops, sorry.
We gotta keep it together, Sally. We're trying to get Brad on the podcast.
I know. People don't like it when we just gush about him. Sorry.
I know. Sorry, it's just for a second. Yes, I'll go with Cliff as well. This is getting out of control.
Cool.
Yes, I agree. That's great. Well, I think that about does it for this episode. Do we know what's next?
100,000 planes?
Oh, I think I remember liking that one.
I like them all also.
Because it's The West Wing.
Right.
If you have thoughts or feelings that if you feel compelled to share them, you can email us at TheWestWingPodcast@gmail.com. You can put your commas wherever you would like. We will accept your emails in our inbox. We love reading them. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at WinginItPod. And
check your comma usage.
What?
Just kidding. I said check your comma usage.
Yeah, you can check it. We definitely will. But yeah, we hope you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.